Will Smith spent millions on an RV that costs more than your life. But at one point in his life, he almost went to jail for owing the IRS. That's why these days, he owns NBA teams and even gives a massive chunk of his earnings to the church. These are stupidly expensive things Will Smith owns. For an actor with decades worth of experience in the game, Will Smith hated to work in trailers provided for the film crew. They were small, had a lot of people using them at a time, and you couldn't tell what people did in those public trailers once nobody was watching. Instead of bothering everyone with his hate for public trailers, Will Smith decided to do something so crazy everyone thought he lost a bet. Will Smith's crazy idea involved getting in touch with a company called Anderson Mobile Estates to build him the craziest mobile home in the history of mobile homes. Custom RVs and trailers aren't that new, with several people owning some sick-looking trailers with things you wouldn't even find in an apartment. But Will Smith's RV takes things to a whole new level. Imagine a mobile home with a full kitchen and a dining room, plus a lounge that serves as Will Smith's personal wardrobe. It also has a $25,000 bathroom with saunas. And don't forget the crazy expensive waiting area. We don't know how, but they managed to fit in $200,000 granite countertops, $30,000 on couches and ceiling, plus $125,000 worth of gadgets, which include 14 TVs. That's an insane setup for something that stays empty while Will Smith isn't shooting movies. But once you hear that the RV covers over 1,200 square feet of living space, its $2.5 million price doesn't sound too bad. That's the kind of badass expense you expect from someone who made Hancock. But you know what else is badass? Subscribing to the channel. Will Smith's $1 million trailer might blow the competition out of the water. But what if we told you he also has one of the craziest private jet stories ever? The story takes us back to 2011, when Will Smith took his family for a little vacation to Dublin, Ireland. After enjoying everything Ireland had to offer, the Smiths decided it was time to take a 50-minute trip to Manchester, England, when he found out all seats had been booked except the economy class seats. When you're as rich as Will Smith, even the thought of taking economy for a 50-minute flight feels like suicide. So Will Smith did what any self-respecting multi-millionaire would do. He had his manager charter a $60,000 private jet trip for the family of four. And no one was thinking about climate change while it happened. When you're as rich as Will Smith, taking your family on a private jet is child's play. Which is why in 2011, he decided it was time to own an NBA franchise. Seeing how much players like LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Ja Morant earn from playing basketball should give you a sense of how much a basketball franchise costs. But if you still don't have an idea of how crazily expensive it can get to own a basketball team, your average franchise goes for $4.4 billion. Since Will Smith wasn't just going to drop a few billion for the team, he partnered up with his wife and a few other celebrities to own a minority share of the Philadelphia 76ers NBA team. If you think because they went for a minority share it couldn't be that expensive, you might want to take a retake because their minority share costs a whopping $18 million, which is more than enough to call yourself a part owner. If you're disappointed that Will didn't have the gas to outright own a team, there's probably an explanation for that, and we promise it's a little weird. Despite not being the religious type, Will Smith donates a crazy chunk of his salary to religious causes, like the time he donated $450,000 to missionaries and $123,000 to the Church of Scientology. Even though Will Smith claims he doesn't go to the Church of Scientology, he still donated $2 million for the creation of a Scientology private school, with Jaden Smith enrolling in the school. With everything we've heard about Scientology, Jaden must have done something really bad to get banished to that school. It's a good thing Jaden is now grown, because after suffering through the Scientology boarding school, he gets to joyride his father's impressive car collection. We've already talked about Will Smith's sick trailer, but he only takes that out when he's on set, and he doesn't even drive it. When he wants to get behind the wheel, his go-to car is his 1965 Ford Mustang. This $80,000 beauty might not look like much, but underestimating is a fatal error. Powered by a 5.8-liter V8 engine, this baby easily generates over 270 horsepower for when you need to escape the cops on a high-speed chase. Speaking of evading the police, Will Smith understood that you can't underrate a power EV. So he was one of the few people on the planet to own the original Tesla Roadster. Apart from being all electric, the original Roadster was something of a speed demon, with the ability to break that 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Even though Tesla released other EV models with better battery life, there was something special about the first-generation Roadster that made it so special. That's why Will Smith was happy to pay $100,000 for the car.
Bro, you got no idea. My girlfriend is in love with Bad. She watches that movie at least once a week.
FaceTime her. FaceTime your girl.
Nah, chill.
Yeah, FaceTime your
Really?
girl.
Hey,
What's
bro.
her name?
Thais.
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 Dude, no way. Say hi to the camera.
What's up, Thais? Say hi to the camera, Thais. Yeah. What's up? What's up?
I'm here with my boy Will.
Mateo is being broken in as a potential new Bad Boys partner. Right? So me and Mateo, we gotta go fight some crime. So we're gonna talk to you later. We're gonna keep Miami safe for you.
On the more expensive side of things, Will Smith also owns a $200,000 Maybach 57S, a $340,000 Bentley Azure, and a $150,000 BMW i8. But he probably never uses those cars because he is one of those celebrities who love to be driven around in a Rolls Royce. To announce his entry into the Big Boys League, Will Smith went for a $400,000 Rolls Royce Ghost, and it's maxed out with things that make your car look like a toy. Will Smith had his Rolls Royce looking unique with things like a custom starlight pattern and decor made out of hand-picked leather. But it doesn't end there. He also had the car heavily modified to be bulletproof, plus a list of other upgrades that put it level with an armored truck. When you're that rich, your protection comes first, so we don't blame him for going full psycho on the poor Rolls Royce. Despite Will Smith's love for cars, his total amount spent on gas-guzzling beasts barely crosses the $2 million mark, and that's all thanks to his fear of going broke. It might be hard to imagine, but once upon a time, Will Smith was so broke he almost went to jail. It all started when Will was just 17 years old, attending a party where DJ Jazzy Jeff made a performance. When DJ Jazzy Jeff's crew couldn't make it to the party, Will volunteered to help the artist, and the crowd went nuts with Will Smith's performance. Seeing how smooth Will was, Jazzy Jeff partnered up with him on a track named Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble.
It's 20 years of swag y'all just witnessed. Let me remind everybody who Will Smith is. Rappers make it rain, let their money hit you. If I throw my money up, shit, I'd probably kill a stripper. The illest, realest, Big Willis, down with the man in charge with Uncle Phyllis. Everybody wanna do Will Smith numbers. I don't know if your life got that many summers.
The song went nuclear, and Will was an instant star who went on to make a few more songs as he became a millionaire overnight. With that kind of wealth, Will went on a spending spree that saw him burn through his $6 million net worth in a matter of months. A large chunk of that money went to the 6 cars and a mansion, plus tons of gifts for his friends who followed him around everywhere. All it took was 2 years for the money to run dry, and that was when the IRS came knocking for the $2.8 million Will owed the government. With just $2.83 to his name, Will was facing serious jail time if he couldn't cough up the money. And just when things looked really bad, he landed the lead role on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith had to offer the IRS 70% of his income from the sitcom to avoid going to jail. And it must have been the hardest thing to do. Watching the government take more than half your salary for 3 years must have hurt like hell, which is why Will Smith made better decisions with his money. It's probably why once he became a stable millionaire, he went all in on buying homes, And when you add the properties he owns with his wife, it looks like he runs his own real estate company. We have to start off with his $937,000 property in Pennsylvania, because it was the first home he bought after he got married to Jada Pinkett. The massive estate covers 8,000 square feet of living space, with amenities like a swimming pool, a tennis court, and a basketball court. But it's still nothing compared to his next house. Once Will felt it was time to step things up, he went for a beach house in Hawaii, which sat on 7 acres of beautiful land. The home's stunning view of the water is enough to make you forget that this house has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Will bought this property for a whopping $13.5 million, and it would serve as his vacation home in Hawaii. But that was confusing since he already owned another vacation home. This time, it was a $1 million property sitting on 6.9 acres of land on the island of Kauai. This property had a guest house, a carriage house, a private studio, a spa, a tennis court, and a 50-foot swimming pool. Heading back to the mainland, Will Smith also bought a $910,000 home in Woodland Hills, LA, and a $700,000 property in his hometown in Philadelphia. That gives the man and his family a few choices when they feel like experiencing a new city. Still, Will Smith's favorite home is the one he built from scratch in the Calabasas neighborhood of LA. Unlike Will Smith's other homes, this mansion is in a league of its own, as it sits on a 150-acre land that is so large it has its own zip code. With such a massive complex, Will filled the mansion with everything you would ever need in a house, from infinity pools to courts for all sports Will loves. And you can't forget about the interior decor, because he only went for the finest things money could buy. It's no surprise that a massive project like this cost Will Smith $42 million to make, and he had to invest 7 years to make it perfect.